Hello and welcome to our brick tip number 37. I want to carry on with the series on buildings, and today we're going to be talking about doors. There are all sorts of ways to do brick built doors. I know it's easy to rely on the doors that Lego's done so well, but this is for those of you who want to branch into making your own doors. So we got lots of pieces here that we can use. We got all sorts of clips and bars and brackets, headlight pieces, jumper pieces, and of course for the window we got all manner of translucent pieces. So we'll clear this out of the way and then we'll get started. First, what I want to talk about is making different kinds of hinges. If you want your doors to open and close, and you do not want to rely on the hinges that Lego has, because sometimes when you're doing doors, they're not the greatest for that. We can always customize our own hinges. So this is one that I did very quickly. You can see that there's 4 clips here, all hanging off of this bar. And because we're doing standard construction on the door, we can imagine this is the actual door here. It's very easy to line up our clips and our bar. We have 2 bricks here, and then it's a brick and a plate in the middle, so that lines up perfectly well. This is a really simple way to make a hinge. Alright, this is another simple hinge. This is constructed with using bricks with the bars on the side of them and clips on our plate door. Instead of doing a brick door, we're going to be aligning the plates up and down. So because of that, you have to be a little more conscious of where the clips and the bars are. In this case, let's take this apart so I can show you. I've put a plate on the bottom, and then our brick with the clip, 2 other bricks, and another plate as a spacer, and then a plate on top. And that gives us our perfect spacing for our door. That doesn't want to click this way because it's not. There we go. So that makes a really great hinge, okay? Now you'll notice here I went and put some jumpers in so I could offset the door so it's recessed a little bit from the wall. And, oh, we forgot our filler plate. There we go. So we can lock that in, and we do the same on the other side with the other pillars so we get a nice door frame. And then you'll notice the walls here have a jumper on the top. That's so that we can line everything up here, and then we lock it in like so. So again, the trick to this one is paying attention to your spacing here. We are 5 apart for the clips, and then 2.5 or 2 bricks and 1 plate spacing for those bricks with the bar on it. Of course, you can use a different combination of clips and bars. This was just something really simple and quick to show you. I wanted to mention with this one, if you actually wanted to keep this as a recessed panel and you weren't worried about it opening and closing at all, and you wanted to keep it as a decorative element, especially in something like a castle, all you'd have to do is repeat this pattern over here and lock the whole thing in, and then you'd have a nice recessed panel. And now I want to move on to a more decorative style door. I based this design off of the windows that I showed you that Larry Lars came up with the brackets on the sides. You can see this door gets pretty complicated back here, so we're going to take it apart so I can show you how I constructed this. So let's get at that. There we go. So we are down to our door, and you can tell you can go with any design up here. I just went with this one but there's a lot of options. The main thing is I have 4 brackets here on the side, and then this 2x3 plate in the middle. And that's kind of what's going to give the whole thing strength. And then we make sure to overlap these tiles. And again, that's going to add to our strength of the door. Now this door isn't actually ever going to move. We don't have to worry about it being locked in place and being really tight. I used a translucent plate here with the tile on it to give us that window effect. And then I just threw some slopes on top. This tile on the top is held in by a plate which is stuck in the middle right there. And then there is a jumper, and that is all that is holding that plate and that tile together. So if we look on the sides, we have our brackets here. We have a filler plate which allows us to do a decorative edge in the front. Then we have a couple tiles, and again we have the jumper bricks, which is going to allow us to set in the door. And it's going to be a little bit proud of the wall because it's going to push it out a little bit. Oh. And I did say that this door is not really structurally strong. You could make it a little stronger by adding another plate in there. Now if we look at the bottom, you can notice I did some more jumpers along here. That's because this door is actually 5 wide, even though the door step is 4. So it's a really interesting little technique here to get it to all line up. Alright, so at the top, again, I put some bigger jumpers up here, 2x2 jumpers, and that's going to move the top of our door frame forward a bit. And there we go. Oh, this popped off. We'll lock that back in place, and there we go. So there's our first doorway you can make. I want to talk about using these facade doors. If you don't need to have opening and closing doors, you can definitely play around a lot with doing different designs and making the doors a little more decorative. So I have one more to show you. Here's a door I think that would be great for a micro build if you're doing some sort of fortress or cathedral and you want those great big doors. This would be great for that. Again, this is based off Larry Larr's design, and even here I used the hubcap or the hub piece that he has in his window designs. So if we flip this over, we can see it's not as complicated as the other door, but there's a lot of jumpers used in here to be able to give us all those multi-paneled effects. One thing I noticed I want to show you is this lintel up here. There is some gappage up there, but it really lends to the whole feel of like a great big stone building. So let's take this apart. Yeah, it's tough. There we go. So first of all, our wheel hub here is connected to the top plate. It's not connected to the door at all. And again, we have our brackets on the side. Where it gets a bit interesting is that I've used a series of jumpers with tiles on them to give us that effect on the side. Again, we get that nice recessed effect. On the other side is where the action is. Again, we have a series of jumpers, and then we have another couple jumpers that the bracket locks into, and that bracket is holding our 2 doors. So if we put that in place, and we put that together, again, we get a very cool design that is exactly 4 wide. You could also use this design if you wanted to do shuttered windows. That would look really great. Now this piece here, which is another jumper, a 1x3 and a tile on top, that is just going to float there. That's not locking into anything. We're going to trap it with the wheel hub here. So when we lock that down, there we go. We have a great fortress style door. And of course, if you're not doing anything on the inside, this looks perfectly great. If you want to detail the inside, you could probably work with this a little bit and maybe even create a different effect where you have the doors going this way as well. And that would cover up that whole area. So, there's some ideas for you for your doors. Definitely go and play around and see what you can come up with. There are lots of different designs out there. I very quickly covered a couple of them. Again, if you don't need to use an opening and closing door, if you don't want that functionality or don't need that functionality, then you can just go wild with how you want to style the back of the door. Don't forget, we have a lot of room back here to really make things move around and play with your jumpers a bit and headlight pieces so that you can position things exactly where you want them. I hope this was useful for you. If it was, please like, subscribe, and share around so that others can enjoy it. We have a Patreon account if you wish to support us that way. And don't forget about our Play Well Bricks 1000 contest, where you can win a $100 Canadian Lego gift card and a Lego VIP set. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming of bricks. Bye-bye.